All right, good morning, everybody. Today we're going to talk about area and perimeter. Area and perimeter are different ways that we measure things in order to see how much space that they take up. Um, it's totally okay if you haven't heard this before because we're going to talk about it today. So at the end of our lesson today, I would expect you to um, be able to define area and perimeter, explain the differences between area and perimeter because they are different ways to measure things. Demonstrate your knowledge of area and perimeter through different activities that we're going to do. Know when to use area versus perimeter, and support the importance of area and perimeter in real life, because people use area and perimeter every day. And you'll also get to design a city using your knowledge of area and perimeter. So it's very important that we make sure that you have a really firm understanding of area and perimeter as we go through today. We'll go ahead and get started. I'm going to pass around a couple of hard hats for you guys. You can try them on, make sure everyone around you gets a chance to wear it. So what kind of job do you have if you wear a hard hat? That's right, you're probably a construction worker. If you're a construction worker, what do you do? That's right, you build buildings, you make sure that buildings are a certain size, or that they're made safely. Mostly today we'll talk about the fact, since you will be a city planner for your own city later, you're going to need to know how big a building is and how much space it takes up. Because if you put a big building here and a big building here, maybe you got the measurements right on them, but this building is really close to this building. So you need to be aware of area and perimeter, not just when you're building buildings, but when you're placing them as well. That's pretty important. We're going to watch a short little video on area and perimeter just so you guys kind of get introduced to it. Go ahead and share my screen.
How many chairs can we fit here till we can fit no more? Count with me, 1, 2, 3, 4. The perimeter is 4. How many tables are there in this cafeteria? There's only one table in this cafeteria. 1 square is the area. 1 times 1 is the area.
So in class, I would do so much more than I'm doing in this video, but I would show the whole video with them. And for knowing about area and perimeter in your real life, people who have jobs where they need to know area and perimeter, like people who are city planners, they need to be aware of these kinds of measurements. Sometimes adults do it in their daily lives, and they don't even realize it. So it's a really important skill that you're going to have to learn, that you'll probably use again a lot after you graduate. All right, we will go ahead and get to work. We have a little scavenger hunt that you guys are going to do first. I will go ahead and pull it up so you guys can see it. There are different instructions. Everybody has the same instructions. And if I don't come up and tell you what shape you're supposed to be looking for on your scavenger hunt, you are a circle. There are different shapes. If it's not a circle and I don't talk to you about it, don't look at it. So I'll go ahead and read the directions to you. You're going to take a piece of paper and number it 1 to 10. There are 10 problems. This is your answer recording sheet. So you will use a whiteboard to write your answer, to work out the problems, do all the math that you need to do. But you'll put your answer on the answer recording sheet. You can work around the room in any order you want to, because order does not matter. When you see one of your answers on an answer cards look different than problem cards. You're going to check the top for a letter. It'll be in that circle or whatever shape that you have. There's a letter in the shape on the answer card. So you'll go back to the answer that you wrote down. All the answers are different, so you won't get confused. You'll put that letter next to it. And at the end, After you've completed all your problems, use the letters you've collected to solve the puzzle on the answer sheet. Good luck. I'm here to help you if you need it. So if you get lost, if you're confused, you come find me. I'll help you. Just remember that with area, this is the formula for area. Perimeter, you just add up all the sides. If it says look for the perimeter, you add up all the sides, but area, I'll do a quick little example, is just you're multiplying two things, length times width. So if I have a rectangle, I'm going to divide it up to look like this. And there are two of these squares on this side and three squares up here. We have a total of, we'll multiply it. 3 times 2 is 6. So whatever the unit is that you have, it is 6 units squared because these are divided up into squares. And just to double check our work, we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The perimeter would be different. You would add up 2 and 2 because these side lengths are the same, and then 3 and 3 because these side lengths are the same in a rectangle. And which would give you a totally different answer. It would give you 10. But you don't have to worry too much about perimeter. Perimeter is a lot easier than area. This is what your answer sheet will look like. There are 10 letters that you're looking for. It's okay if you see the same letter. Just make sure, like with this problem, this is what you're looking for, and that's what you're recording next to this answer on your answer sheet. All right, we will go ahead and move on. We've got a nice helpful little anchor chart here about area and perimeter, kind of just going over what I just told you. This is after you have completed your little scavenger hunt and you've solved the puzzle, which says math is cool. I know some of you disagree with me, but math can be pretty cool. Like we're going to find out today with our city planning activity. Remember perimeter, you add up all the sides. So you've got it's the measurement of the outside of a shape. So like imagine that you've got a fence and you need to know how much fence you need to use. So you've got, 2 pieces of fence right here, and you need 4 here, 2 again, because it's a rectangle, so the side lengths are the same, and then you need 4 more. So you add all these up, 2 plus 2, 4 plus 4 is 12 units. However much your units are, feet, inches, yards, whatever they are. Area is different. Area you multiply is because it's the measurement of an inside of a shape. So I've got these little squares highlighted in here. It is 2 squares by 4 squares. So you multiply 2 times 4. The formula for this is always the same. It's length times width. So if it's a rectangle like this, you just need to have the 2 ones and the 4 ones. You multiply that together. And it is 8 square units. And we say square units, we do this little 2 down here because they are measured in squares on the inside. Sometimes they look like grids like this and sometimes they don't, but it all means the same thing. Length times width is a formula, which means it is a rule. So every time you're doing area, you're doing this formula every single time. Okay, now we're gonna read a book and I'm gonna share my screen again. We're going to read a book about perimeter called Racing Around. So this is Racing Around. It is written by Stuart J. Murphy, and it's illustrated by Mike Reed. Racing Around. We've got a sign right here. It says annual bike race. Annual 15-kilometer bike race, which is just a different way you measure things. Kilometers are. It's kind of like miles. Medal awarded to everyone who finishes. I've already done the race twice, bragged Justin. It's on Perimeter Path. That's all the way around the park. When I finish this year, I'll have 3 medals. Well, I'm going to do it this year, said Marissa. I've already done a 10-mile race, and this is a little shorter. I want to try too, said their little brother Mike. Even Bingo looked like he wanted to race. And go ahead and skip to an example we can use. You'll have your geo boards out. And so I will help you draw this out. And I have my own little geo board if you get stuck. So Justin started at the corner of the athletic field and rode all the way down one side. The odometer read 1 kilometer, which says how far he went. So this side is 1. Then he rode down the next side. The odometer read 3. That meant the second side was 2 kilometers long. Make sure you're following along on your geo boards. The third side was 1. The third side was 1 kilometer again. So this is also 1. The odometer was at 4, and the final side was 2 kilometers. So take a second, look at your geo boards, kind of do the math mentally. 1, 1, 2, so not good 2s, and 2. So do we take a second to figure it out? Do we multiply these? No, we add them together because we're looking at perimeter. If we were looking at area, we would be multiplying the 1 and the 2 together. So 1 plus 2 plus 2. I went all the way around them, and the perimeter of the field is only 6 kilometers, Justin said. That's not even half of 15, said Marissa. We would read the rest of the book to help them get the idea. I'm still putting overtime. And then we'll go ahead and take a Google survey. It's just a quick little assessment for me to figure out where you are, see if I need to help you. You're going to look at similarities and differences between area and perimeter. Show me what you know. Just show me what you know and tell me how you feel about it. And then after that, we will look at our assessment. I am running short on time, so I'm not going to go over it a whole lot. You have grid paper to draw your buildings on. You're going to use dice for this to plan to map out your city on the grid paper. And so you're going to record what kind of building you have in the area in the perimeter. There are a certain number of buildings that you have to have. You have to have these kinds of buildings. This is my example. And then this is my example city. If you have extra time, you can make it look like this. Just be sure to use proper use of technology procedures when we're using technology. How are you supposed to treat them, and how are you supposed to act when you're using them? And just make sure that I'm not looking for how nice your city looks. I'm looking for, were you able to use the math correctly? And does your recording sheet follow what you did in Minecraft? And then to close, you are just going to write a quick little summary about what you learned today. You're going to be writing it as if you were explaining to somebody who is absent. So remember to talk about key vocabulary and different examples of area and perimeter, kind of talk about how they're similar and why they're ways that they're different. And then if you want to, you can share. And then if you still have any questions, we can talk about those to make sure that everybody is on the same level about this. And that is all that I have.